Air Force Pararescue. Tsunami Inbound by James A. Shaw. Chapter 10. John and Luca. Turning the boat, John veers over into a safe spot along the mountainside near Hope. Far enough away, he powers down the motors. He looks on with little emotion at the disaster taking place. The tsunami crashes headlong into the city of Anchorage. Electrical flashes spark and shoot up into the sky. Sounds of breaking concrete and blistering trees swell into the air. The sound of car horns can still be heard 20 miles across the water. John peers over his shoulder at the miserable-looking young boy, shivering from the cold temperatures, his face in his hands. John faces many dilemmas. This boy, recovering in his boat, is the source of deep wounds and past shortcomings. A moment of weakness seizes John, and he thinks bad thoughts. He decides to remove himself from his own demons, and heads up top to get a better visual of the city and plan his next strategic move. In the open elements, cold seeps through John's black rain jacket. He watches with concern as the water turns and begins to head in his direction. His eyes catch on something in the water, then stare in amazement. On the water drifts a green Patagonia jacket. Had Alan survived, the jacket drifts over to the boat and knocks against the hull. John grabs a hooking pole used for pulling in halibut. He reaches out over the ledge and hooks the green jacket off the water. Pulling it back on board, he looks it over. Inside the corner pocket, in a trifold, he finds Alan's EPA CAC card, driver's license, 3 credit cards, a $50 coin, and a photo of Mary, thus confirming the identity of the jacket. John keeps the Kennedy $50 without any second thought. He takes the photo of Mary and rips it in half. He tosses the trifold overboard and kisses the photo of Mary. He whispers,
"Goodbye, Alan."
As he heads back inside, he hears an alarming thump, thump, thump.
"What the bloody—"
asks John out loud. He quickly looks around. He sees nothing but worries that maybe the boat is taking on water and the hull is imploding. Only an underwater or dry dock inspection can confirm this, but there is little time. He knows the Sommer has damage to the front end from bashing against the rocks. The noise dissipates. Confused, he asks Luca if he heard anything.
"Hey, you awake? You hear that noise?"
When there is no response, John yells out,
"Luca, I called to you, answer me."
He walks back and finds the young boy slumped over in a pool of his own blood and vomit. His forehead rolls about on the dinette table until his tiny body falls over and onto the floor. Luca's eyes are rolled back. John bends over and shakes him, trying to awaken him. Luca is out cold, shaking like a miniature wind-up toy. His body is cold and soaking wet. John grabs the large gray blanket from the bench seat and tries to warm Luca's body. He rubs Luca's arms to stimulate blood flow, but his body does not respond. John stretches out Luca's hoodie above the heart, where there is an image of a yellow pitchfork. Icy cold water squeezes out of the fabric. John leans in to see if Luca is breathing. A dashboard alarm sounds, causing John to divert his attention to the instrument cluster that is positioned along his captain's chair. He returns to the wheel and looks at his gauges. Up ahead, large swells of water surge in the tsunami's aftermath. After hitting the mountains by Anchorage, the tsunami now races this way. John realizes that his earlier concerns were warranted. Danger is coming. He turns on the engines, which let out a heavy growl. He steers the boat to face the wall of water and braces for the first wave. His nerves shoot through his body, and his temperature rises with fear. He clenches the steering wheel and closes his eyes. Smash! John is thrown to the floor. The impact breaks a side window, sending ocean water into the cabin. As John gets to his knees, smash! Another wave hits the boat, spinning it backwards. John is thrown to the side of the boat. His head hits against the metal bulkhead, sending his hat spiraling upwards and into the air. He picks himself back up and puts on his cap. He hurries back to the wheel in anticipation for the next wave. Feeling a little dizzy, he looks around to assess if he can retreat to safer water. but he sees no options. Without time to plan an escape, John rotates the Sommer 007 to face the next wave. This one is larger and comes with a roaring charge. He powers the engines forward with everything the boat can muster. The wave, about 20 feet in height, sends fear down John's tight forearms. His veins pop beneath his snake tattoo. The boat hits the wave and rides it up. It breaches the top and plummets down the backside of the wave. It hits the bottom of the wave, where the bow goes underwater, before popping back up. Water pours over the bow and spills into the cabin through the broken window. Alarms ring out. John silences the alarms, but the light stays illuminated. Behind him, he can hear Luca's body sliding around on the floor. John glances back. Luca is still shaking, his body turning deathly blue. John steers the boat over to the mountainside of the bay, looking for calmer water. He finds a miniature cove with great protection all around. It is little more than a crack in the cliffside. The boat narrowly squeezes in. John heads over to the ice chest, stepping over the boy. He grabs 2 beers, pops off 1 cap, and guzzles down a beer in seconds. He heads back to the wheel with his 2nd beer. At the wheel, John begins to feel anger. He chugs down the 2nd beer as quickly as the first and throws the empty glass bottle against the bulkhead, smashing it into pieces. Foamy bubbles of beer drip down the sidewall. He wrestles with his thoughts. He returns to Luca and picks up the green jacket. It is wet, but not as much as he would have expected. He takes off his black jacket and pauses to consider the situation. He makes up his mind and slides on the Patagonia jacket, which fits nicely. He takes one last pause to look at Luca's cold body. He bends down and gently brushes Luca's hair off his forehead. His eyes are completely shut and have lost their human appearance. He notices a few deep scrapes and bruises across Luca's forehead. He says,
Wake up, Luca.
Luca's eyes half open, and he goes in and out.
Bloody hell.
John shakes Luca like mixing a cocktail and says,
You did this to me. Bloody hell, wake up.
He slaps Luca's cheek consecutively without pause. Luca's eyes close. The sound of a helicopter nearby breaks through his rage. He looks out the broken window and listens attentively to the sound of rotors slicing through the air. He spots the helicopter. Her gray silhouette is something that he is all too familiar with seeing in the city. The helicopter hoovers and pivots. He knows this is a military helicopter. He quickly composes himself. This is his chance at rescue. John experiences a numbing sensation that mutes his feelings. He grabs Luca's hands and drags him up and onto the bench seat at the dinette table. He wraps him in the blanket for good measure, before returning to the wheel and reversing slowly. Once in open water, he powers up the motor and races forth. As the boat travels the nautical mile towards the helicopter, he hears the fiberglass shearing on the bow. The boat might not hold, he thinks. At his feet, he notices water sloshing around, a good indicator that there is a breached hole on the boat. He speeds off on a course to intersect midway with the military helicopter. His plan is simple: be rescued